let's talk about Sansa in this episode.
My queen.
She's great. Although it is funny, we were talking earlier about the fact that because the pace of the show is accelerated so much, it just seems like Westeros has like a new rail system or something.
Oh
People
my God.
are just
like
zipping around back and forth.
Teleporting. I want to know, like we're talking about sci-fi coming into the show. People are teleporting left and right. I saw be like, seems like Littlefinger put the army at the Vale like on his teleporter.
Yeah, it does. Like people are just like, I'm gonna go here and I'll be there the next scene, and then they like zip back, and it's just funny on a show that where it used to take like a season for someone to track.
Also compared to the books where like literally an entire book was just Brienne traveling around.
Yeah.
Like the pains of travel were something that were a big part of George R. R. Martin's writing, but they were like, we need to wrap this stuff up.
Yeah, we're heading towards the end here, folks. People got to get places. So so Sansa in this episode, she went and visited Littlefinger and then zipped back to the wall.
Yeah.
But it was a big scene with Littlefinger, and it was a very interesting scene where she basically was the audience surrogate.
Or critic surrogate.
Or a critic, for a lot of people, let's just say, and obviously can't speak for everyone because people have different opinions, but a lot of criticisms that the show specifically got about the Sansa storyline in season 5, she was articulating. And this is where it's interesting because Benioff and Weiss are, fairly, protective, and they don't do a ton of interviews and stuff. So who knows? But it seemed like this scene was very much answering a lot of those criticisms. And it was hard to think that they weren't aware of all that when they wrote this scene.
I think that a lot of this season has been reacting to criticisms, and I think it's largely an improvement. Mm-hmm. But I do agree, like, there were two things that really stuck out to me. One, when she was like, either you were an idiot or you sent me to Ramsay knowing what he was, which is a lot of what people were saying, and I think is very true. And he's still like, I think she really pushed him out of balance on that. But then also when she repeatedly was like, what do you think he did to me? What do you think he did to me? I thought that was really powerful. And it's the first time the show has ever really addressed sexual violence. It's really overlooked it in a lot of ways.
It has. I mean, I think that's, that's the thing that people have brought up, is that it's not that people think that, obviously this is a brutal world, so it's almost darkly no surprise that this would happen. I think a lot of people's problems with it is that when it's not followed up on, and the characters themselves who went through it don't seem to ever bring it up. And it doesn't seem like it even exists as far as like the trauma that would bring. So even if this was, if this scene existed partially because of a response to that, I think it was a very good scene and a necessary scene.
I agree. And I hope that we still do see some ripple effects with Sansa. Like, it's been something that she's talked about already this season. I hope that, God, I hope she kills Ramsay Bolton. But
I know.
It seems like we're building toward a confrontation with the Boltons. I hope that once again it does come around. But it does seem like, she's gone through so many terrible things. And last season we expected more of this strong Sansa that we're now getting this season. But I really do feel like she's come into her own. And she's still playing the politics game. Like, she lied to Jon about the fact that she spoke with Littlefinger and that he gave her this insight because the Blackfish is back.
Yeah, well, they're talking about him at least. I mean, who knows? They could just find
We're
his corpse.
closer than we've ever been, okay?
Yeah. They're discussing the Blackfish. It was interesting that she still was, not revealing everything to Jon. She didn't talk to him about going to see Littlefinger. Although overall, I mean, I don't think it's supposed to be like nefarious at this point yet, but it is her, I think, like you said, playing the game.
And he pointedly said to her, like, she's like, I'm going to be with my brother. And he goes, your half-brother. Mm-hmm. Like, reminding her, you guys aren't full blood. Like, he is a bastard. Like, all these other things that.
Right, which, she brings up herself too, basically, saying, well, I'm going to go along, because I am a Stark. I do want to briefly mention, because you and I were both traveling last week, so we didn't do Dragons on the Wall. I still am absolutely thrilled just to see Sansa and Jon in a scene. When they got on horses together, I'm like,
Joshua and Jim did an amazing job last week, the B team. But we also
they called themselves the B team.
They're the A team to us.
Yes. But no, it is still thrilling to see these characters together, only because on a show where it felt like it never would happen.
I was in New Zealand watching it, like, I don't even know what hour, but I was watching and I was like, like in
Yeah.
my hotel room. So excited.
I watched it on a terrible, slow hotel internet, HBO Go on my laptop. It was all flickering in and out, and I still was like, "What? This is really
Teleport more.
stop freezing, and this is awesome." But yeah, so it's really exciting. But to see them together, and yes, at the same time though, you do wonder, okay, how much is she sort of still looking at the big picture and what she needs to do? I absolutely think she loves John, and she's happy to be back with him. So I don't think it's like she's going to betray John. But I do think it shows that she's still kind of, assessing the situation.
And also like really savvy with looking at the different houses in the North and who they can talk to, and even challenging Davos. Like, Davos, do you know the North? Do you know like what people would do? I always get a kick out of hearing that. I don't think we'll ever get Frey pies, but I am excited every time the Manderleys are mentioned. I hope we one day will meet Wyman Manderley, who I think is a lot of fans' favorites. But I'm intrigued to see the army that they're building, because again, like all the promos, it seems like we're building up to this big battle.
Oh yeah, and we're definitely getting the army building is a big deal, and the fact that they are, it was kind of thrilling again when they're having that scene talking about who would side with us, and they're literally looking at the map, and you see, and they have for the audience's benefit, they've got all the names written really big. Here's where we got to go, and here's where we got to recruit. But yeah, it's very exciting to see that happening. And even though it didn't happen, it wasn't Littlefinger's army is not just going to team up with Sansa's army. They're still out there.
Yeah.
So we'll see what kind of role.
Yeah, I have a feeling that. I mean, we're all going to need to come together to battle the Children of the Forest White Walker army.